All right, everybody, how's it going? Now that the season has officially come to an end in the NFL, it is Black Monday, and you know what that means. There's going to be a lot of coaches being fired today, and there already has been. We'll go over them. There's been Todd Bowles, Adam Gase, Vance Joseph, Dirk Cotter, Marvin Lewis, Mike McCarthy, and Steve Wilkes. And we'll talk about them individually. That's the Jets head coach, the Miami Dolphins head coach, the Denver Broncos head coach, Tampa Bay's head coach, Cincinnati's head coach, Green Bay's head coach. Of course, that was earlier in the year, and Arizona's coach. Uh, that's the more surprising one. You kind of fire a guy after you just hired him. No real time to get anything set, but I guess 3-13 is completely unexcusable. And yeah, I'm not really sure why he's only out after 1 year. No time to like establish anything, build his own offense, build anything. Um, I guess it was the worst, tied for the worst season in Cardinals history, so that kind of fueled it. The worst offense in the NFL. It was just, I guess it just didn't work. I'm sure Wilkes will get hired somewhere else to go do something, whether it be a coordinator again or a head coach for one of the teams that are looking for a new coach. Many, many teams are. Um, so we'll see what happens with Arizona and Steve Wilkes. It's interesting. That's one of the many teams that need a new coach. Of course, Mike McCarthy was fired earlier this year by the Green Bay Packers. Not really, not much to say about that. That's already been mainly said. He went 125, 77 and 2 over 13 seasons as the Green Bay head coach. He's already been reached out to by like Cleveland and I think the New York Jets. So I'm sure Mike McCarthy will be coaching somewhere next year and doing just fine. This one was a bit of a surprise to me. I wasn't too sure if Marvin Lewis was actually going to be fired, but after a 6-10 year, never really winning in the playoffs, just kind of getting the team away from being a really bad team like it was when he took it over to a respectable team is what he was able to do. This is what the article says. Bengals owner Mike Brown fired Lewis after the team failed to reach the postseason for the third straight season. That's a big part of it. Lewis leaves Cincinnati as the winningest coach in franchise history, posting a 131, 122 and 3 record over 16 seasons at the helm. Despite 7 postseason bursts during Lewis's tenure, the Bengals never won a playoff game. I believe they've also won the AFC North a few times under Marvin Lewis. So to not win a playoff game, to miss 3 straight years, it was just time to go, time to look for a new coach. I mean, I'm sure Marvin Lewis, if he wants to do anything in football after leaving the Bengals, whether it be a GM or as a consultant in an office, he'll get hired immediately. It's not going to be hard to see him go somewhere. He's a lot like McCarthy, in my opinion. Like, those guys are going to go do whatever they want to in football. It's just time for a fresh start for everybody. It's not like he's a bad guy, but 16 years with the team, it's maybe time to refresh it. What best of luck for Marvin Lewis going forward. And then one of the most obvious guys who got fired was Dirk Cotter, Tampa Bay, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He leaves Tampa Bay with a 19-29 record. Tampa Bay failed to climb out of the NFC South doldrums en route to missing the playoffs for the 11th straight season. Holy shit. So yeah, that's part of it. It's just they brought him in. Finishing at 5-11 for the second straight year. So that's at 10 and 22. So there was like a one. Jesus Christ, he was a bad coach. So yeah, I guess Tampa Bay is going to improve. Hopefully, they can either find a coach that can work Jameis Winston and work out the kinks because that offense has talent. I think they were one of the best offenses in the league by the end of the year. If you go and look, they rank right up there in the top 5, if not number 1. It's like a startling thing. So the obvious thing is they need to figure something out to get the offense to play consistently, to get Jameis's turnovers down. He is only going to be a 4th or 5th year starter next year. Don't know if you want to just flush it down away when it obviously kind of felt like a Jeff Fisher and Vince Young situation going on in Tampa Bay. So hopefully they bring in the right coach, and then we can see Jameis turn into a Goff and get the numbers down, the turnovers down, and keep the touchdowns and the yards up. So that's it's obviously was going to happen to Dirk Cotter. I mean, whatever. I think he's going to coach again somewhere. I'm not too sure where, but I'm sure he'll be a coordinator or something. Vance Joseph was sort of surprising by the Denver Broncos as well. Let's see. Denver fired Vance Joseph immediately after posting the franchise's first consecutive losing season since 1971 and 72. The Broncos went 11-21 in Joseph's 2 seasons at the helm. Oh, never mind. 2 losing seasons, 2 years with that defense and a decent offense. I mean, I get it. The quarterback situation was bad last year, but you had a good quarterback this year, and you lost some guys, yeah, but your team looked pathetic. You had a Pro Bowl running back, you had another running back, you had Sanders and Thomas at one point. It just nothing worked. You weren't able to utilize the defense. Um, the Broncos allowed 22 points per game, 104.5 rush yards, and 58. Jesus. Yeah, the defense just fell apart under Vance Joseph. So that's part of it. You have all these pieces and all these guys who make up this elite defense. Von Miller, Chubb. You had other guys last year that they and ended up leaving probably because they didn't want to play for Vance Joseph. And look at their defense just collapsed. And that was their only strong suit. So, you know, obviously Vance was going to be fired. He'll be picked up by somebody else as a coordinator, I'm pretty sure. If not, one of these teams might hire him as the head coach. Maybe the Cardinals might. I don't know. Now the guy I want to become the new offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions, which is Adam Gase. Very smart offensive mind, just not, I don't think, quite ready to be a head coach. That was the problem for Adam Gase. You know how some, like, I think even with the Lions offensive coordinator, Jim Bob Cooter, who for some reason hasn't been fired yet. Um, he's very good at coaching, but I don't think he's ready to be a coordinator. I think he's too young, too inexperienced with calling things. He was a quarterback coach that got bumped up. I think Todd Bowles is an offensive coordinator who's not quite ready to be a head coach. A lot like Josh McDaniels, for example, wasn't ready to be a head coach when he tried it the first time, but now he's probably going to be the Green Bay Packers head coach. So it's, as the Packers have requested to interview with McDaniel. So I think that's the problem with Gase. Just wasn't quite ready to be a head coach. He had a 23-25 record over 3 seasons with the team. In his first year, he went 10-6 and made the playoffs. The last 2 seasons without having, Tannehill. We missed Tannehill last year, so that was kind of bullshit to bring it up. And he started 3-0, missed Tannehill. The team fell apart, and then Tannehill came back, almost had him kind of relevant, and then they lost a bunch in a row. So, you know what I mean? It just seems like inexperience. He didn't know how to deal with losing his offense. Didn't know how to deal with injuries piling up. They just ended up losing games and shit. So he just wasn't ready. He'll be a coach again in the league, but I think he's going to go back to being a coordinator right away. And then we have Todd Bowles, who was fired after 4 straight losing years with the team, I believe. A 24-40 record with the Gang Green. His best season coming in 2015 when the Jets missed the playoffs despite going 10-6. Oh wow, that sucks. God damn. Bowles failed to reach the postseason in 4 of his years with the team. That's what I thought. I knew it was 4 or 5 seasons with the team. Blunder-filled losses to the Browns, Jaguars, and Bills annihilated any real chance of New York evolving into a contender for the postseason. Bowles, posted a bad record. He was an obvious firing. He's going to be either hired as a defensive coordinator or a head coach really quickly. Todd Bowles will. He's going to go to somewhere that isn't entirely toxic and isn't entirely, shitty. Really quickly, John Harbaugh safe for Baltimore. Doug Marrone for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Tom Coughlin said he's going to be, he's going to be on they're all staying. So is the general manager or whatever, Caldwell, and everybody's staying for the Jaguars, so nothing to worry about that. And Ron Rivera has been told by the Panthers he will be coming back with the team. Not very surprising right there. Kind of had a weird year. Cam got hurt. What are you going to do? Cam played the last 7 games hurt. Or the last, 5 games hurt and then sat out the last 2. Let's see. Coaching candidates. Bruce Arians, Eric Bieniemy, Dan Campbell, Matt Eberflus, or I don't know how to say that. Brian Flores, the Green Bay Packers and Cleveland Browns, have requested interviews with Flores, the de facto defensive coordinator of the Patriots. So Brian Flores might be having a job. Freddie Kitchens, the Browns interim offensive coordinator, might be getting interviewed for the head coaching job. Josh McDaniels, Green Bay Packers have reached out to interview with him. And Greg Williams is, of course, going to be, interviewed as well for the Browns. I actually like his chances with Kitchens and him becoming head coach in OC. General manager hired is Mike Mayock for the Oakland Raiders. And a manager fired was, of course, Reggie McKenzie for the Oakland Raiders. Let's see if there's any more up-to-date news regarding coaches. And I don't think so. Nope, that's the last I knew. There is one thing I want to check. If the Lions have let go of Jimbo Cooter. I really hope they did. Nothing yet. So, all right. Well, that's the bit of breaking news. God damn it. I'm really upset about that, that the Lions haven't, like, there's a bunch of coaches, everyone's being fired everywhere, and the Lions won't. Ah, damn it. All right, that's fine, though. Bruce Arians, by the way, would listen if the this is a very interesting person to potentially take over the Buccaneers job, and I actually want this to happen for the Bucks. Bruce Arians would listen, and he's interested if the Buccaneers were to call. So take that in consideration. You know, Bruce Arians to the Buccaneers might happen. And I like Jameis Winston improving under the tutelage of one Bruce Arians. I like McDaniels going to. Let's see. Do I have any opinion on some of these guys? Yeah, McDaniels is probably going to coach the Packers next year. Mike McCarthy will probably be coaching Cleveland or the Jets. Not too sure about that. And then we'll see about the rest of these jobs. It'll be very interesting to see who goes where, who does what. But all right, everybody, thank you so much for listening. Again, the head coaches that have been fired really quickly, just to be back up: Todd Bowles, New York Jets; Adam Gase, Miami Dolphins; Vance Joseph, Denver Broncos; Dirk Cutter, Tampa Bay Buccaneers; Marvin Lewis, Cincinnati Bengals; Mike McCarthy, Green Bay Packers; and Steve Wilks of the Arizona Cardinals. Those guys are all going to be looking for new jobs. All those teams are looking for new coaches. So if those is one of your teams, congratulations. You might be saved next year with a better chance, a better start, and a fresh
Hi,
tomorrow.
this is Dr. Saban with
Make sure you
Travis at
stay
My Past
tuned
Braces and
for the.
and Travis got
Hold
his
on.
braces off.
And make sure you stay tuned for my wild card picks video coming out very soon and all that fun stuff. Again, NFL Black Monday. A lot of coaches are going to get fired. Maybe yours coach was fired. Poor Steve Wilks, I guess. I don't know. Thank you guys so much for listening. Have a great day. Stay tuned for the rest of the videos. Bye bye.